going on.
I don't have it. Didn't come on for me yet.
Okay, we're live.
Good morning, everyone.
Cynthia and I are back to discuss the highlights of our last Wednesday accountability call. And this meeting was a little bit different because I had a question this time and decided I would ask questions and go around the room to see how people replied. And so my question to the group was, actually it was kind of a three-part question, but I was wondering what people's why is for getting started in real estate investing. And because I think a person's why, or the reason that they get started on this journey, is super important. Because I did a video on this too, if the reason why you're starting isn't strong enough, then as soon as things get hard, and they will get hard, it could knock you out of the race. So that was part of it. What is your why? And I think that could be a little bit different um, than why do you invest? And the third part of that question was, if it's okay to take a break from real estate. In the beginning, a lot of us are just go, go, go. I know that was what it was like for me when we first started. And we hear different things, right? From Coach Carson to a lot of other people talking about plateaus and that you need to enjoy the journey. And it's okay to take a break to gather your thoughts, I guess, for lack of a better term. But a lot of people think that if you take a break, that you could lose momentum, or the deals aren't going to be there when you come back to it. And I don't mean to take a break like for weeks or months, but to take a few days to enjoy the progress that you've made, and definitely um, stay engaged with the family or your spouse, right? Because if you're busy on this journey, sometimes things can drift. Hopefully they don't. What do you think about that question? Why is your why strong enough?
I think, and it has to do with everybody's journey and where they are. I think definitely um, that plays into it because for me, the why we are doing it is, to me, it's not really so that I can retire, but so that we can retire. And we already know Social Security isn't going to cover everything. So, and we're not big into trips and all of those lavish vacations and what have you. So being able not just to survive, but to enjoy life because we work, and like a lot of people, lots and lots of hours. And that's your whole center of living for, excuse me, living for a long time. You put in the however many hours a week. For me, it was also bringing work home. For you, it was also bringing work home and spending that time doing that. So you don't, you're just living. You're not enjoying life per se, even though you enjoy what you're doing. It's not necessarily living your life. I was just thinking about, you were talking to Lynn and Violetta this morning and all the things that they're doing, which I think is great, especially at their age, because those are the things that I want to do now that I'm going to be retiring. The garden isn't just as a, because I enjoy doing that, but it's also to help sustain our living. So those kinds of things. And then which got me thinking down one of those rabbit holes again. Every one of the things that people think about is, oh, when you retire, then everybody gardens. Well, yeah, everybody does a lot of things. Old people do a lot of things because they didn't have the time to do it before because they were taking care of family, home obligations, and all that. And then if you throw real estate into that also, that's like another layer, on top of everything else you do. So I think your why changes as you as you go along in your journey. It adjusts. It doesn't really change. It just adjusts here and there so that it all stays the same. So everything is cohesive. And I think that's important. And I think that's important with anything, whether it's real estate or whatever you're doing. You adjust in life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think all of those are good points. I think something that came out of the meeting, or something I realized when I was thinking about asking that question, is most of the people, well, I should say all of the people that come on and join us every Wednesday seem to have strong enough whys, because most of them have been doing it for a few years. And if their why wasn't strong enough, they would have, you know, not still been here, not still
Mhm.
been doing it. So that was encouraging to see.
One of the, you mentioned just a few minutes ago that, oh no, I'm losing my train of thought. That, keep going, I forgot.
I was just reading Mark's comment. It's yard work when you're younger. When you get older, it's gardening.
But think about, oh, okay, let's go on that, Mark. So yes, it's yard work because it's something you have to do. It's not something you want to do. And it's not for your pleasure. It's because your parents are making you go out there and do it. If it was it, and we do have kids who enjoy doing that, thankfully, and so that's nice. But yeah, it depends on what is it. Oh, I know what it was. You said you had asked them, is it okay if um for
You
if
take a
people
break.
take a break? Yeah, if they take a break from, I think it's important to take a break. And I don't think there's anything wrong with taking a break for weeks or even a month. It doesn't mean that you're not going to check in to see how people are doing or that you're not going to do the occasional podcast or whatever. So I think it just means that your body needs to reset, your mind needs to reset, because when your mind is clear and you can get all that noise out of there, then all those voices, and then that's when all the creativity happens. That's when you open yourself up to possibilities. And when you open yourself up to those possibilities, good things start coming to you. So when you're so busy, you ignore those good things. I'm not necessarily ignore them. You don't hear those good things that are right there waiting for you to pick up and run with. So I think, and I don't think real estate should take 90% of your time ever. Um, I don't think that's healthy. To me, that becomes an addiction because it's like, oh, I gotta have this. Oh, I have to go check this. Oh, I have to go listen to this. Oh, I have to. That's not healthy. That your body doesn't need that. And it shows us because people start to get irritable, marriages start to get on the rocks, relationships start to falter, all these things happen. And those are all cues that we need to stop and say, well, wait a minute, what's taking up my time? And is that the most important thing? If it is, good, go for it. But my guess is that it isn't. It's part of your life. It's not, it shouldn't become your life. It should be only a part of your life.
Yeah, and you and Mark talking about gardening. I think it's not only things like that, but if you are able to retire and have your time back, a crazy thought for me is like, I've always hated being stuck in traffic, right?
Hmm.
So if I didn't have to go anywhere, I wouldn't go.
Me
But
either.
the other side of that is just say we are retired and we want to go wherever. It almost doesn't, the traffic almost wouldn't bother me because there's no time constraints, if
Exactly.
that makes any sense. So,
Uh-huh.
I mean, nobody enjoys sitting in traffic and you always want to get to your destination as quickly as possible. But
Maybe not as quickly as possible anymore because when you used to take these trips, you're used to, okay, I only have 5 days. Okay, if I take 2 days traveling, that's not going to work. So that's when you want to get there as soon as possible. But I think, as you were saying, if you don't have any time constraints, you enjoy the journey there and even the journey back. Um, one of the times we went to go see our friend in Stockton, we took some of the back roads, and before we used to pass these fruit stands and say, yeah, one day we're gonna have to stop. But we were always trying to get home to get ready for the next day. That that one time we stopped, it was like, whoa, this is really enjoyable. We should do this again. You don't see, that's what I was saying about there's all these things out there that you don't see because you have all this noise in your head. I have to get home, I have to get ready for work on Monday, blah, blah, blah. I need to rest real quick, but you're not even resting. So you can't enjoy the journey until you slow your mind and yourself down and look at things differently. Open your eyes and look at things. Think about it. How many people go to work? They know how to get there. It's an automatic. But do they notice anything around them when they're driving to work?
yeah, I think a lot of times they don't, and I don't either. It's kind of funny, when we're driving together and you get to notice all these things, all these changes that have happened in our area over time, but I just see the road. So it'll be nice to get past
But
that.
but at least I tell you what's changed.
Yeah, yeah, don't look, but this changed.
But this changed.
Um, and lots of things, I imagine lots of things would change if you were retired. A lot less would bother. I think a lot less things would bother me. Um,
Mm.
I don't know really any to pinpoint right now, but
Well, yeah, you wouldn't be irritated when you forget something and have to go back to Home Depot, you know, like it would be nothing to say, okay, I'm gonna go run to the store real quick. We need tomatoes. Where now it's like, okay, we really don't need them. I really don't want to go. So
yeah,
I think there's a whole change in how you look at things and the why and the why, and again, you lose that noise in your head. And you always tease about how many things I want to do on my bucket list. And it's not crazy things. It's things that in the last however many years, last 100 years, I have not had a chance to do and enjoy because I do read. But as I'm reading, I am still in my mind thinking, okay, I'm going to read for 5 more minutes and then I have to go get this done. But there's going to be a time where it's like I could sit there and read the whole book if I want to. There's your that I think it's really time freedom that you get, but you have to change the way you look at things. You can't, some people, when they retire, they kind of wither away because it's not that they don't have anything to do or anything that they would want to do, it's that they don't change with their time. For a while there, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to feel lost because I'm so used to getting up and things I have to do and what have you. And I don't, I'm kind of changing, I think because I brought it to my mind, up to the front of my mind that I'm starting to change of, okay, it's okay if I don't go to work. I don't need that validation from the kids, from the parents, from whomever that I'm my self-worth that doesn't come into play anymore. But and that's what happens when you're laid off or you're fired. All of a sudden, it's like, how come I'm not good enough? But now it's not, it's a choice. It's not because some of the situations. So I think, and that's the whole thing also with the whole mindset thing that goes on now, is that knowing what you want to do and where you want to go in life, and your age doesn't matter. Yes, your health matters, but looking at all those things and thinking, oh my gosh, I really enjoy doing this, and getting away from those stereotypes of, yeah, you could do that because you're old now or you're retired. Okay, so yes, I'm retired. That's a goal. That's a great accomplishment. It's not a, oh yeah, you're too old to work. That's not what it is. And I think it's the same thing with real estate. We've talked about how everybody gets in, well, we're in that middle state where we're not looking, but we see things, but we're not buying because we need to stabilize, and all these things are happening. So then I know we were listening to some podcasts the other day, and I was like, okay, after it was done, I said, okay, I got absolutely zero out of that. And you looked at me, goes, well, there was a lot of good stuff. I said, okay, let me change that. Not that I didn't get anything out of it. I already know that. There's only at the beginning, you learn a lot. And then as you're going through, I mean, what do you learn during stabilization? There's a reason why they call it stabilization. It's not called excitement, it's called stabilization. Let's stabilize everything, keep an eye on things, it's not. So I think that's where people get a little discouraged, a little lost, plus the beginning when it gets crazy. But some people thrive on that craziness. They thrive on that excitement. And then when things start to stabilize, okay, this is boring. I'm moving on to something else. Sorry, I got off topic.
Okay. I think recently we've heard, well, at least one person in the group saying that real estate is boring.
It is.
And I mean, we joke about that, but I was going to say too, even in retirement, so I think there's going to be a, a whole mindset shift for you coming, since you will be able to retire this summer, that, like you were saying earlier, about when you're reading or when you're doing anything, there's always in the back of your mind, there's that next thing you need to do, right? That you've got to get done. Like for you right now, it's grades for your kids. You got to get those done soon, but pretty soon there's not going to be that, and you'll be able to
No,
really enjoy your time.
I know. I'm excited. I'm tired
Yeah.
of grades.
And so that brings me to my next thought about how we always say, well, I always say, if I don't get something done, well, I'll just do it tomorrow. But
Yeah.
that's become a motivator for me, because now I'm thinking, and as I talked about in the video, we're not guaranteed tomorrow. So
Right.
for me, it's like when I start to say that I'll do it tomorrow, I think, okay, well, if I'm not here tomorrow, it's not going to get done. So I better go do it now.
Yeah, but then you have to stop and think, does it really need to be done? Sometimes I think
Well, a lot of stuff does need to be done. I mean,
hmm,
not everything needs to be done right this second, but a lot of it should be done right away.
true. Maybe.
Um,
So do you think what is your why? Why are we doing this? Let's see if we agree.
well, I think we had that discussion on our Wednesday call as well, because a couple of people mentioned that their why has shifted since they started,
Mhm.
and I realized that mine has too. And what I said was, in the beginning, we I started looking into real estate investing for the second time because I was panicking because I didn't have anything saved for retirement. And I think back then, I forget how old I was, but that was, well, it was 2019 is when it really hit me hard. And so originally my why was, I need to get on the ball and I need to earn some savings or build some savings or something. And I didn't even realize how little Social Security would do for us, right? That we couldn't live on what we were going to be getting from Social Security. So that was what started me. And then, so it was for me to have something in retirement for us. And then it shifted for me to be able to help you retire. So I think in both cases, the why was strong enough to keep me motivated. And even though that why was so strong, and a lot of people in the group know that there were times in the last couple of years that I wasn't even sure it was going to work. And should we just sell the properties and try to live on whatever cash we made back from those investments? And you helped me through that. And a lot of people had great suggestions while we shared that in the groups. So, and I don't know if it's just an automatic 5 years of suck, but once we actually got through the 5 years of suck recently, things just started looking better. And, we're not going to be like super rich or anything, but I think with the portfolio we have and with Social Security, hopefully it'll be here as long as we are, that we can be comfortable. We don't, I wouldn't say we live frugally, but we don't really need stuff. And I think that's going to be helpful. Hopefully over time, we'll save up enough money if we want to take a trip or something. And, you know, um, because even though through the first 5 years, I think the first 3 years, we didn't really do anything to enjoy the journey. And then after that, even when we just go to dinner or we have our weekly discussions about the properties or whatever it might be, that's part of enjoying the journey. And I think that helps a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I think when we sell all those extra tools, we'll see how much money we have.
Well, we're not selling all the tools, but um, we do. Looks like Jason has a question. Do you want to check that out?
I just got a text from my tenant asking if I want to buy stuff for her kindergarten pop-up store. Yes or no thoughts? Well, being a teacher, um, do it if it's in your heart, not because you feel obligated. It's double good popcorn. Hey, if it's popcorn, absolutely. I think anything, whatever you do, I'm sure would be appreciated. And if you don't feel you want to, then just let them know, hey, not this time. But hey, popcorn, come on now.
Yeah, I would. Um, I think I
Well,
would
that's
support any little person. Well, even Mark, we support Mark and he's little, but any really little person, kindergarten size. Um, and my first thought was it went to learning lessons, right? But I think at that age, you don't need to push a learning lesson on a kindergartner. But um,
yeah, you do. Trust me, I see them every day. Yeah, you need to teach them. Hey, you were saying that, and I was thinking about because as you all know, I teach at a not-for-profit private school, Christian school. And I think about how much parents really have and want to give if you let them know. I have a hard time asking for things. I really do. I have a hard time doing that. But if they know that there's a need, oh my gosh, things just flood in. So I think, if they're asking, the kids are doing their little fundraiser, I think, yeah, go for it.
yeah, I think we'll get to Ike's comment here in a second, but I think I, I always like to be supportive of the little ones. You think about Girl Scouts, and we run into, they'll set up in front of a grocery store or something, and they'll be selling their cookies, and the Girl Scouts themselves are asking us if we would like to buy cookies.
Of
And I
course,
think,
because they're cute. Because they're cute, so you're not going to say no.
well, I have said no, but
Shame on
I
you.
I think we were in the middle of a turnover or something at the time, and I was just not very in a very good mood.
Ooh.
But um, I'm just teasing, of course. But yeah, I mean, if the kids, and it's with adults too, if a kid or adult is trying to better themselves, if then I'm all for helping. But it's when you see, and this is kind of off topic, getting away from the kid thing, but if you're trying to help people and you see that they're not even trying to help themselves, then
Yeah,
I will stop. But um,
exactly.
for the kids, yeah, I'm always supportive, and I think that's where Ike's comment goes as
Yes.
well.
I love Ike's comment. So the other thing too, we do a fun we I don't know why, but we were never big on fundraising, even though I think we should have always been. So we do one every year and it's Drive for Schools. And so you do the raffle tickets, no good popcorn, nothing, just raffle tickets. And so it's a school-wide thing, and they keep track of which grades make the most, and then that grade gets, I don't know, ice cream party or something. Okay, that is so unfair because those stinking little preschoolers beat everybody every time.
Yeah,
And I even asked parents, did you sell it? Oh, they go, oh no. My kid just stands there, holds it out, and says, please buy it. And they sell all of them. Like, oh man. So it's because they're cute and they're little. Then get to my middle school age, they're not cute, they stink. They're not selling anything.
yeah, I remember. It's probably not a thing these days, but did you ever remember before Christmas time, they used to send us home with this big box of stuff to sell, and it was, you know, candles and
Oh no.
Christmassy smelling stuff and all these things that we could sell. So I think I never really went outside of the family. Family was
Yeah.
first, and I would go bug everybody in the family first, and so that was a thing back then. Um,
We weren't allowed to take, so Jason says, all his workers come and ask for things for their kids. We were never allowed to put anything anywhere or advertise for our kids. So it used to always be one of those, as you pass by somebody, "Psst, I got candy, selling candy, or I'm selling popcorn. Okay, I'll see you later." It's almost like a little side hustle on the back.
yeah. Well, hopefully Jason hasn't bought so much stuff that he has enough to open a store.
Yeah, I hope not. But Jason, popcorn, that's a definite yes. Okay, so Jason, if you have all these people that are always asking, you need to be a little bit more selective. So popcorn, yes, because popcorn's good. Candles, you can give them the excuse of, that really messes up my allergies or my asthma or whatever. Come back and see me when you're selling something else.
Food.
Food.
Yeah, so getting back to the Wednesday meeting, we didn't get through everybody that night, and I'm not sure if people would like to continue that this coming week. I'll ask, but I thought it was good, and I thought, you know, thinking about taking a break from real estate, I think that's one thing that's special about our call because it's not always totally about real estate. I think sometimes people enjoy just talking about other things that are going on in their lives because there are other struggles, right? Besides real estate, we know real estate can be a struggle, but there are some other things that people maybe are carrying that we're happy to listen and either give feedback or not, but at least the person can express what they're going through, and that's been really nice. Oh yeah, Ike is a firefighter, and we won't hold that against him. I think he's Well, he's not the typical example of a firefighter that we've seen in recent years, so that's refreshing. And Jim's with us. Yeah,
Yep.
and Jim is having his first school meeting tomorrow. It's on the school calendar, so we'll be looking forward to crashing that party.
So Jim, I just want you to know you won't see my name pop up because I'm not a member of school, but I will be listening with Frank, so I won't be able to add any comments. But no, I do have comments.
Well, yeah. So, Jim, if you see any crazy comments come through there, you just know that they're not from me. But yeah, we're looking forward to that. Hopefully, you have a good turnout. So, I think that was about the main topic that night for the meeting, and that took up most of our time. We did have a lender on with us that night, so he gave a little bit of information.
What was
Uh,
the majority of the whys? What was the, give us a couple.
well, we only got through maybe six or so because when once folks were answering, it kind of led into some other directions. I think I think a few of them were the usual more time freedom, being able to spend more time with their families, um, doing things they enjoy. I know Ray was on with us that night. He enjoys getting away and camping and things like that. And who else? Nicole had similar, and she's the one who mentioned about her why kind of transitioning from where it started. Um, so that's why I'm hoping that we can continue that because we didn't get to too many people. Yeah, so the link is on the school calendar for Jim's call. Um, and also Jim's YouTube channel. He got that rolling, and his first couple of videos were really cool. He showed what he's been working on for the past several months, and his properties look amazing. I think um, and hope that he gets some really good tenants because those it would be nice if those were taken care of by whoever's going to rent. Um, yeah, so I wonder. Well, I guess if I don't know, Jasek, if one of us or should or could one of us share the link outside of the community because in our case for our Wednesday call, my Zoom link for our usual Wednesday meeting was already mine, and then Zuber put it in school. Um,
But if you don't have access to school, like if, like, let's say Lynn isn't a member of school, she can't have access to that.
I think if you had the Zoom link, you could.
But they're saying the Zoom link is in school. That doesn't help me if it's in school, if you can't get into school.
Oh, maybe we can't share the link as school members.
I don't know. I don't know. I was just asking. Because I'm thinking there's a lot of stuff. Well, there's a lot of good things that are happening in Zoom that you guys are all a part of, which is great. But we have people who aren't in school who don't have access to that information. So that when we go through and I say, like example, maybe to Violeta, there's Grumpy Contractor has this information about how to whatever, because she's doing a not only a remodel, she's doing a whatever. Then that doesn't help her if she's not a member because you guys are all saying it's in there. So I can't very well say, okay, here's a good resource. I mean, we could refer her to his YouTube stuff, but as far as, so let me ask you this, Jim, Okay, I don't like calling you Jim. Okay, let's say Grumpy, is everything through YouTube that goes on school?
I think well, just like we share our videos, so he can take his video and copy the link and then post that in school, so people in school will watch his video.
Okay,
If
sounds good.
someone shares you the link, it's okay. That's how people can experience the call before joining.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Josh.
But then, Jacek, wouldn't they be able to come every week without paying for school? Okay, so maybe let's see. We can get to some of our random questions if you want.
Sure. Make them good questions.
I try to. So, uh,
So I have a question.
okay.
Uh, um, uh, so you're working on a project here at home. Did you record any of that to post? Because it is coming out so nice. And have you talked about it anywhere? Because to me, those are opportunities of learning and sharing.
Yes, I did start recording. I have it. They're going to be small segments, but
That's
what
okay.
Cynthia is talking about is, um, well, it's turned into a bedroom size catio. And the re- the reason that we're doing it, I've shared, I think, on one of our recent calls, is that because in our area there's been a mountain lion stealing people's pets. So far, he's taken a German Shepherd off someone's deck, and he's taken a sheep from a farmer's corral. And
And there's a new one. He's now in the park near there's another one that's in a park near one of the major shopping centers here. And they're having to close it down because they're afraid he will attack and take a child. Um, and some of the workers as they're getting there in the morning, have seen him wandering the park area. So they're getting pretty crazy there. So it's
yeah,
really not a catio, it's our deck. Let's put this in perspective. It's not a catio. Our
but
cat loves to sit outside. Okay, wait a minute. Our
so
cat
it is
likes
a
to sit
catio.
outside.
So I think
No, it's not a catio.
yes, it's a catio.
So, so it's our deck that's now getting enclosed, which we have talked about doing before this even started for a while. So we can go out there in the winter when it's cold, or in the summer when it's too hot and the sun's beating down, but it could still be a nice place to go. So we've talked about this for years, and it's just now coming to fruition.
So if you want to save money, what she's saying is don't get a cat. Yeah,
No, he's not,
I,
Grumpy, he's not even gonna go in the doghouse. He's not going into the doghouse. He's not going into the supposed catio. He's gonna go out in the South 40 by the creek.
that cat has it better than I do.
Oh my gosh.
Um, yeah. So okay. So I am recording. I will post that soon. We have the structure put together. We just put the roof on yesterday. So we have some hog fencing that we're going to be using to kind of screen in the whole area as protection against the mountain lion and even the coyotes, right? Because we've seen them across the creek from us, and um, I'm hoping the cat will be satisfied with having to stay on the deck because he hasn't been happy having to stay inside the house.
I'll be happy. You should say, I'm glad that my wife is going to be able to enjoy going out there and not having to worry about anything and just relaxing. That should have been your first comment.
It was. Didn't I say that out loud? So, okay. So let's get to some real estate
Okay,
questions.
get back
Um,
on topic.
and this, yeah, if any of you guys in the comments have answers, put them in there so we can see how you think about these two. So the first one is, do you and your partner have the same risk tolerance with money and investing?
No.
And the choices are yes, very similar, somewhat different, very different, or I invest solo, no partner.
Okay.
So
Repeat the first question again now that you've given options,
do
because
you
I
and
only
your
had one cup of coffee.
do you and your partner have the same risk tolerance with money and investing?
No. Is no an answer? No, because
Well, I would
no
say
be
that your answer would be somewhat different.
okay, let's look at bills first. I know I can make more in less desired neighborhood, but I want to keep in better area for the headache people. Takes more of a down payment and slow down growth. My buy box is so small. And Josh says we're pretty similar.
That's good. And
And Grumpy,
we,
very different.
yeah, Josh, we're really looking forward to seeing you in Vegas and meeting your wife. Um, I think that's
Yes,
going to
I'm
be really
excited.
cool. And so Bill said, I know I can make more in less desired neighborhood, but want to keep in a better area for the headache people. Takes more of a down payment and slows down growth. His buy box is small. So that's something that we've thought about a lot, Bill. So, I always talk about how old we are and that we needed to invest for cash flow first. And we're hoping to be around long enough that we can transition. We're not in like D class areas, but um, say C, maybe even C minus in a couple of them. But hopefully, like I said, we'll be around long enough that we can trade up, you know, once we build up some reserves again and go beyond the reserves and save towards an emergency fund and things like that. And then maybe we can consider maybe doing a 1031 or even just buying something outside of our current portfolio to because we understand we will have to wait a little bit for the cash flow to start increasing if you buy in a B class or B minus area. So I'm glad you brought that up.
I think we're, well, I don't think any of those apply because we have the same vision for what we want to invest in, I think. But sometimes, well, because I look at it differently, you look at it differently, and we do come to an agreement of how things should happen. And if we were similar, we'd both look at it and say, okay, that's good, let's do it. But we don't because, yeah, but we just don't. We look at it differently. I tell you what I see, you tell me what you see. We decide this is how we should approach it or maybe not approach it. And we go that way. So I think that question's a little different.
Well, I think one one thing that's been a positive has been because a couple of times I've come to you with a scenario in our portfolio, and I think I think sooner or later we'll be equal as far as what we've learned, because you mentioned a while back about how much more I know than you about the real estate investing stuff. But I think that's been a plus in some cases because if my head is busy and confused about a situation and you just think of it in a common sense way and that makes more sense to do it your way, that's been helpful. You know what I mean? My head is
Yeah.
clouded with all these things and options, but you're like, well, why don't you just do this? And I'm like, oh, that is the right answer. I don't know why I didn't think of that first.
That's why I don't think any of those are good choices. I think it's if you're on the journey with someone, you should balance each other out. I don't think you should just do it one way, your way, because you said that. Yeah, that doesn't always work, or the way I look at it doesn't always work. And you talk things out. And that's what I think Josh and his wife do is they sit and they talk about this is what we're looking at, this is how we want to do it. What do you think? And they talk it through. So that's why they're very similar. And I think they're similar to what we do. And for Grumpy, so Grumpy, does she like not interested in real estate at all? Or is it because of all of the remodels that she's lived through? What is it? Yeah, what's the what is it?
That's a good question. While we wait on his answer, we can hit the next question. What causes more tension in real estate? Money risk, time and energy, decision making, unexpected problems, or we don't invest, we're just watching. So, what causes more tension in real estate?
Causes more tension in real estate. Sam again? What
Money
causes more
risk.
tension? Yeah.
So, it's money risk, time and energy, decision making, unexpected problems.
Unexpected problems.
Yeah, I would have to agree there. I think the other stuff, the money risk, and it depends on your risk tolerance, but I think money risk is important for everybody. Um, Time and energy could be because if someone's got a full-time W-2, I know Jim works a ton, but um, um, if you're working full-time, time and energy could be
Well, it also
decision
depends.
making.
Yeah, that could be. Could be because if you're in it and she's not, or the other way around, however it is, then that could be a big one because time-wise, you're taking away from that relationship. Ten tenant house problems. I agree, Josh.
Yeah. And Josh's comment about being glad he met you. Josh, Cynthia couldn't make it today, so this is my AI girlfriend.
And when you see Frank next week and there's a little bruise under his right eye.
So he did say what tenant and
Mhm.
house
Tenant
problems.
house problems, yeah. Because I mean, even if you, I mean, because if it's like money would be after that. Because if you have tenant and house problems, then you have to have the money to back it up, and then you use that money, and then it causes, yeah, yeah, I would say that too.
And while we're chatting with Josh for a minute, Josh, I was looking through some past videos and I remembered the one that you did a while back. It was shortly after the first RAT meetup. Um, but it would be great to come together again to do something like that because it's been over 2 years. Well, it's been about 2 years, and it would be interesting to see what's changed for us. I think Dion mentioned that he and Chesla will be doing interviews in Vegas for that reason to see, how people are doing now versus what they were doing a couple of years ago. So that's going to be special. Hopefully, we can be a part of that. Uh,
Ike says time and energy for my relationships. Okay, so first, I just read that again, and that's a plural relationships. Ike, be careful, you're going to be sliding into Mark's area. But so time and energy for relationships, that's a big one because if yours, I mean, I saw it with Frank where he was at the beginning so invested in real estate. And then he said, oh, I'm thinking of doing a podcast. And I looked at him and I said, okay, so you're doing something Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, every day. And I had to finally say, enough. Pick the ones you really want to do because we need time. So that's a big one. Yeah, that's a big one. And the other person needs to be able to hear that and not come back with, yeah, but I'm doing this for you. No, if you want to do something for me, then spend some time. Now, I'm always kidding Mikey because Mikey and Frank used to do this weekend thing. And so it was my time and I could listen to them and not really pay attention to them and go do my own thing. And although I enjoy hanging out with you guys, I do miss that time. But when he was doing it like 7 days a week, it was like, okay, who are you? So yeah, that does get into the relationship thing. So just an encouragement to you guys, don't forget those relationships and keep those strong because those will carry you through all the craziness that happens.
And I wonder if I can ask Ike what he means by relationships. Is that a spouse or girlfriend or something else?
Family, friends, all of those relationships, really, they're
Yeah.
important. So
Well,
then
I don't
go
know
ahead,
about
sorry.
friends.
Well, yeah, because if you have close friends, and you're used to, doing something with them, once or twice a month, and all of a sudden you're flaking on that because you're going to sit and listen to Joe Schmo do a podcast is that's repeating everything you already know. Yeah, that's important. If you have important people in your life, you need to nourish those relationships. And if you don't, they just go by wayside. So really, I guess you have to decide, are they worth it or not?
Mhm.
Because think about it. Everybody in real estate, do you want to hang out with everybody in real estate? I don't.
Well, there's 6 people on my list that I don't want to hang out with. None of them are here, by the way.
So Grumpy says his wife doesn't want to do anything business related. Hmm. Okay, that's okay.
Okay, so let's see the next question. Let's pick a good one.
You guys all know, well, he's looking for a topic. You guys all know that the reason why I'm not on is because we've talked about my facial expressions giving away my thoughts. So that's why.
Yeah, your avatar does not have
Isn't
any
she so
facial
cute?
expressions.
She's so
Uh,
cute.
okay, here's another one. So how aligned, it's kind of the same thing. How aligned are you and your partner on long-term goals? Are you completely aligned, mostly aligned, still working it out, often misaligned, or you have no partner?
So,
How
what do you mean
aligned
by
are you?
how? But how far are you looking?
Well, I would think long-term goals. I mean, again, going back to that someday thing, where do you want to be someday? Do you want to, well,
Someday doesn't have a time.
do you
So
want to
are
be
we talking the
together?
next year, 5 years, 10 years? What are we talking about?
Well, I guess for us, well,
Okay,
I think for
let's say
us,
in the next 5 years, we're somewhat aligned
when
because,
aren't we aligned? We're always
well,
aligned.
okay, so first of all, take that little frown off your face.
I need an
Everybody
avatar
sees that.
because I'm getting that look. And you can
Uh,
see it. I don't mind if you see it.
well, okay, so this whole moving thing, I understand we need to move. That all makes sense. And we've talked about this before with these people. I understand all of that. It's the where we're going to move, that whole thing, we're not, because I wanted to move to Washington like 20 years ago. You didn't want to. It's too cold. It's rainy, la, 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 la. So I stopped it and we had the prime property and we stayed here. And now you want to move to Washington, and we are not financially able to the way we were then. And it's like, okay, seriously? And there's too many.
I don't think we were better off back then
Yeah, we were.
if we had moved. No, because our financial situation wasn't, I don't think it was better back then.
It was before the bankruptcy.
Yeah, but I don't, I was thinking about that. I don't think that was real. I mean, not the bankruptcy. I think the way we were living wasn't sustainable.
I think it could have worked because one, we were younger, two, you could do more work, and we had Lucas who was going to be going with us. They had already said yes. That was before the little one came. So it was like our whole group was together on what we needed, how we could make this work. Um, so yeah, I think, anyway. So now for the next 10 years, I think we're very aligned because we have no clue what we're doing. Either one of us. Ah. Okay,
So,
what do you think?
um, well, after talking to you for a minute, I'm confused now. I thought we were aligned, but, but I mean, I guess we're aligned in what we want, right? For each other. We
Yes.
want to be able to
Hmm.
retire. We want to be able to relax and do some things. I always talk about how I don't really care to travel and I just want to be home. I just like tinkering around the house, building stuff in my spare time, that kind of thing. And you with your garden and um, just I guess just uh, being able to see you relax. Um, Jim, who is 24 Hillis, is asking if you play poker.
Yeah, I'm
She
sending
plays
him a
poker
message.
better than I do. And I don't know what Mark studies, but he says I'm always messaging him in our group chat when he's trying to study.
Yeah, so Mark, what are you studying? Real estate.
No, it's not real estate.
Hmm.
Um,
Jim said just change the shower valve. Took longer to get the tools and materials off of my truck pro press.
yeah, he likes the ProPress. I have mixed thoughts on that one. I think running PEX is a lot easier. Maybe that'll be a topic on your first call, Jim. I know ProPress is amazing and it has its time and place, but I've had some situations recently where I realized the ProPress wouldn't have gotten in there and done it. Um, in fact, on the mountain house, I need to release that video. We finished the mountain house. I think it came out pretty nice. I'll be looking forward to hearing what you guys think. Um, and James, I replied to your email. If I don't know if you've seen it yet or not, but I sent you my number and would love to chat with you if you would like to. Um, and you're mostly aligned overall. How to get there is the question. Yeah. So, Jim, mostly aligned. Where do you see you and your wife in 5 or 10 years? When you say aligned, maybe for you that means, being able to travel more often together, and or is there something else that you guys like to do together that you haven't shared with us yet? Thanks, James. Um, so we'll wait for your answer on that one and maybe go to the next question in the meantime.
Mark must have left to go study.
Hey, Dennis, we haven't seen you in a while. Hopefully, you're doing well. We're looking forward to catching up with you and your wife, I think, right? Your wife's coming. So that would be awesome to meet her um, and you. I just realized we haven't met you in person yet. Uh, let's see.
Really, overall, we're aligned. We know where we're doing, we're going. It's just the little details that we go back and forth on.
Yeah, and I don't think, I mean, hopefully it doesn't end in poverty, but I think other than that, wherever we end up, we'll be happy, right?
Right. Josh says we're heading to Florida eventually. Josh, you heard that news report that says that Florida's dropping off like California, right? Which means California, Washington, Oregon.
You mean they're falling into the ocean?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
That's come up again. It comes up every, 5 years or so.
yeah, that really scared me when I was a kid and they said that, but not so much anymore. Um, so let's see. What surprised you most about real estate? The stress level, how personal it feels, how long it takes, how much it affects relationships, or you haven't invested yet. What surprised you most about real estate?
The one the second and okay, so not the last one, but the first two before that.
Stress level and how personal it feels,
No, stress level and
how long it
how
takes,
long it takes, how long it takes. Stress level and how long it takes. My stress level watching you deal with all of this, that was a big that is still a big one, and how long it takes. And that's
yeah,
what Josh said, how long it
Josh,
takes.
Josh agrees. Yeah,
Hmm.
and how long it takes. And I know while we were going through it, it didn't feel like it was going fast, but now that we look at the last 5 years, I'm amazed at where we're at and that we made it through it. And, Dion and I go back and forth because I always tell him, because we were already started about a year, maybe going on 2 years, and the 5 years of suck came out. And I thought, if somebody had told me that before we started, I don't know if we would have started, you
Yeah.
know, because 5 years seems like a long time, but it, now that we're past it, it doesn't seem like it was that long. Yeah, Jim's a workaholic. Hopefully, he'll be able to transition.
I told him that maybe once all the noise in his head goes or lessens, things would change. I know he enjoys what he does, but maybe it doesn't mean you have to stop. Maybe it means you get more selective. Maybe it means something else. Maybe it means you all of a sudden realize there's something that you would like to do. That can be relaxing. Relaxing doesn't mean sitting in front of the TV watching mindless TV. That's not what it means. Relaxing means enjoying what you're doing without the pressure of time
Or
and
having to do it,
or
or having
having to do it, yeah, in your head, because all of that takes part of that joy away. I sometimes, well, Thursday was a very challenging day at teaching, and I thought, I really enjoyed teaching if it wasn't for these stinking kids. But if there's no kids, you can't teach. So, it's some of that. What is that part that you enjoy? Yeah, I think it might change, Grumpy. Mikey says, when you have a quiet time during the day, what are you thinking about most?
you want to go first.
What am I thinking about most? Sometimes when I have a quiet time during the day, I try not to think. I do. I seriously try not to think. And I'm not talking meditation and all that stuff. I think I just try not to think about things because I know I need some downtime. But what do I think about most? I think about where we're going to move. I think about starting to pack stuff up. I think about sitting outside and reading on my new catio deck. I think about projects I have at home. I mean, there's just so many things, but that's when it's quiet and I don't want to think. I just want to be. And that sounds kind of weird. And there's a lot of people that don't know how to do that. They don't know how just to be still, be quiet, and just enjoy the quiet, whether you're sitting outside, looking around, whatever, but not letting all that stress, garbage stay stuck in your brain. That's me.
Yeah, and for me, I mean those times are very rare right now that I have a quiet time. Right now, if I really can get to that point, and there has been some times I I guess right now I just like if I'm sitting outside doing nothing, I do kind of think about what our life will be like when we do move. Um, Most of the time when I'm sitting by myself, I'm trying to think about a topic for the next video or the book or all these different side hustles that I hope will bring in some extra income someday.
I think I
Um,
like when it's our quiet time. I like when we just get into discussions about whatever, from whether the US should take over Greenland or whatever, just things that you don't normally get to talk about.
yeah, I have never really thought too much about politics or those kinds of things. Um,
That's why it's so nice to talk to you about it because you don't really have an opinion yet, but then so it's like you hear it and I'm telling you everything I'm thinking and then you come up with these fresh ideas. It's like, "Oh yeah, I didn't think about that." So that's the for me, that's the nice part
mm,
because I can always find people who will agree with what I say and that doesn't it's not bad to have people agree with what you say, but you don't learn if everyone agrees with you. You need some kind of an opposing thought and then have the ability to discuss it without getting upset. Yes, Mr. Flavio, I am going to have a nice big garden that Frank is going to help me with when I get to Washington. I would eventually like to not have to buy any produce whatsoever, be able to share the produce we have and fruits. Um, yeah,
yeah, I wonder what Mikey thinks about when he has a quiet moment.
I don't think Mikey has a quiet moment. I think we need to teach him to have a quiet moment because he has so much going on right now. I can just imagine his head is just full of so much that, yeah, maybe he needs to sit back and have a quiet moment.
Yeah, it's hard when you're right in the thick of things.
I'm glad nobody told you. Ah,
I think he's talking about the 5 years of suck. Yeah, and we were just on, like you said, with Lynn and Violetta, and talking about how most of us with our channels are trying to show people what it's like to be a real estate investor if they're into it, and we want to be honest about sharing all the experiences, but we think we probably turn more people away than we help realize it's possible. And only with time and proof of concept can you prove it, right? You can tell
right.
somebody all day long that real estate is a great thing, but until you've been through it and can, well, like Matt says, you have receipts, right? So
Mhm.
if you can't show me receipts,
But okay, so I think of like when you say stuff like that, or other people say that, I look at like Matt and Dion and Zuber and anybody else who's big out there. And I think about how how big they are now and how easy it is for them now. And they'll tell you that it's going to be hard. They'll tell you there's going to be challenges. And when you're in them, for me, my thought was always, yeah, but you haven't had the challenges we've had. So don't tell me it's going to get easier. Don't tell me that everything's going to be fine. Don't tell me that. Life is rough right now. And, you know, I don't know. I just, I sometimes even now get discouraged and say, okay, so how you did it, what you did is definitely different than how we do it. And I guess I get that way more when it, not necessarily those three, but anyone says, why do you invest in low property areas? Well, okay, so first of all, if we didn't, we couldn't have started, number one. And then they say, well, yeah, but if you would have just bought one. No, because we did what we thought was right for us because of our situation. So I think sometimes when people go through and say, well, life's going to be rainbows and unicorns in 7 years, just hang on. Well, no, because even now, even though everything's stabilizing, it's not even half rainbows and half unicorns yet because we haven't made up what our losses have been. We have to make up our losses and be positive in every area before we can say, okay, now it's rainbows and unicorns. We're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, but it's still a ways. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. And I wonder, years down the road, if people will look at us the same way, like, you guys are successful and, how do you know what we're going through?
Yeah.
But all of the three guys, all the big guys have had challenges. It sounds like
Uh-huh.
Dion has had the fewest challenges, but Matt
Right.
did go through a time where he almost lost what he
Yeah.
had.
Uh-huh.
And Zuber with his first one turning into an alligator. I'm sure I understand what he was feeling at that time because we've
Uh-huh.
been there too. But yeah, once but Matt and Zuber have been at it for 20 plus years.
Right.
And then, I don't know if I'll be here in 20 years, but if we are, I'm sure we'll look back on all of this and have a good laugh.
Um, Josh said Zuber's on a good video with Pineda and another guy. It's pretty raw talk. We need to listen to that one.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday. I think a couple of other people had mentioned they enjoyed that one. So we'll check that out later.
Yeah.
Um,
And thank you, Mark. He says, come on, folks, share the stream with one new person today, 8 subscribers to get to 400. Thank you.
yeah, thanks, Mark. I did hear, Mark, and I was wondering if you had heard. I was watching, I forget what it's called, but it's the YouTube, with Sean Cannell, and they were talking about some new ways that you can earn money with YouTube. And there's one version that is below the 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. It's like 500 subscribers and a couple of other things to get you to a point where you could, I think, not get monetized fully, but some way that you could start earning even at that level. Um, so thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, we've been around 390 for quite some time, and I've been learning about. Well, I think I'm learning about different ways to help promote the channel. So we'll see if any of those start working. I've only implemented them in the last couple of videos, like a decent description, some hashtags, but there's mixed feelings about hashtags, right? Some say they don't help, some say they do. Then there's keywords in the titles. There's some people think thumbnails are really important. Um, so we're trying a few different things. What did Dennis say?
He says agrees, spending 7,000 on a burn, getting 500 cash flow just made more sense to me at first. Instead of trying to save 50,000 for 25% down on a 200,000 new build.
Hmm.
Yeah, everybody goes at it differently. And think about it. Think about back to that first property you bought. At that time, that made sense. Your numbers look good, everything looked good, it made sense.
Yeah,
If
and
we were starting over, I would still go for that triplex. I just don't know what it is about that triplex that just has my heart. That's an emotional one for me. And I don't think it's because it's our first, maybe it's because our first. I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't do anything without us really talking about it, but that's one that I think I would probably sell first if it came down to it. If we, and we can talk about it later, but there's a lot of things that we can't optimize with that property. And so the cash flow has been inconsistent. It's been positive, for the last few months, which is encouraging. And it was actually, it did quite well in the beginning too. Um, so we'll just have to watch it. I think that's something that we talk about all the time, is that our properties are still so new to us that they haven't had a chance to either prove or disprove their value.
Right.
So, and that was our newest, that one we bought in late 2020. So that just hit 5 years. But we have made a lot of capital improvements in the last couple of years to it. So we'll have to see how that goes.
Um, Grumpy says, I'm very hard-headed. I have to learn a lot for myself. You know, I used to be that when I was younger. Very hard-headed. No, I'm going to do it this way because this is what I think I should be doing. And I learned that you miss out on a lot. You miss out on the options that are available at that time because the options don't always stay. You miss out on growing personally and in every way. So, Mr. Grumpy, I think your 20-year-old person inside needs to let go and stop being so stubborn.
Well, I think you could have a different point of view on that. Well, I have a different point of view because I enjoy learning, and I think I would like to learn how to do something, whatever it is, before I paid someone else to do it for me, because then, you should know how it should be done. You know how much it should cost and that kind of thing. But there's a difference between learning a lot for yourself and having to do it all yourself.
Right. I
That's
think we both read that question in different ways. Go ahead.
Mhm. Yeah,
Hmm.
because I was thinking I've never felt like I could have an employee because I could teach someone to do what I do, but they still, because it's not their business, they're not going to treat customers the way I demand they be treated. They're not going to be polite and respectful because it's not their business. And if they lose this job, they
Exactly.
can just go find another one. So over the years, that's been a struggle for me. I've had other contractors over the years tell me I should niche down to one trade. Um, but my feeling about that is if I was just a painter, for example, we wouldn't have been so busy throughout the years, right? Because I know over the years, painters have not had work. And it doesn't have to just be a painter, it could be any trade. Um, but I think a painter is probably, I don't know, people can say, well, I'll just paint later. But if they have an electrical or plumbing issue, they can't wait till later. So it depends on the trade a little bit. But I'm glad that that we've done our business the way we have over the years. And since we basically do everything, we've been able to stay very busy.
So Hillis says, we're looking at purchasing a 900 square foot 2-1. Should we create an extra bedroom or an extra bathroom? And Dennis says probably would check other houses around that same area and see which improvement will yield a better price for rent. Also not going to get more for Section 8 for the extra bathroom. And I agree. I think, check to see what's happening, what the market's like in the area. And 900 square feet, you get another room. It's kind of going to be kind of small still. So I think I would still go towards another bedroom. I think I would go towards another bedroom instead of a bathroom because a 2-2 Really? Yeah. I think that's a lavish, not a, yeah, I think that's a lavish living there. Each room has its own bathroom. I guess, and that's because we've always had only one bathroom and you make it work. So I would go for the bedroom. I guess. Flavio says, I think you folks can have more freedom getting rid of the 3K mortgage. I have a $600 mortgage and is a big piece of mind. I agree, Flavio, and I think that's one of the things that we're looking at is that when I look at it, and so I look at it and I look at how much money I know we have coming in just like from my Social Security, and I'm not taking anything else in account of as income. So if it's just my Social Security, what is the max we could pay for mortgage and still be okay? So that takes out medical and all that other stuff. So what is that number? And that's what I look at. Um, and yeah, because after going through the bankruptcy, I'm telling you, there is no way on earth that I want to have that feeling again of not knowing if you're going to keep your home or not. That has got to be the worst feeling in the world. And our son was little. It's like, okay, this isn't going to work. So yeah, that's one of the big ones for me is knowing that if I don't care if I, have to go down to one meal a day, we're not going to be homeless. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, I want to
Mike
go back
says,
to,
go ahead.
let me go back real quick to what James was saying about the two bedroom, one bath. I think if it's a situation where, just say you could add an ensuite to one of the bedrooms and you might be able to do, like a rent by the room or something like that, that might be appealing. And I agree with Dennis, the market should determine which way you go with that. I know because we have a 2-1 in St. Louis, which has a room that we could have made a third bedroom. But at the time, our property manager actually said that it didn't make sense to do that in the area that we were investing in because the 3 bedrooms don't necessarily rent for more than a 2 bedroom or enough more to make it worth it. So I think there are cases when a 2 bedroom, 2 bath makes sense, but do your due diligence on the market. And I kind of said the same thing. Yeah.
Um, Troy says, hey, Jim, don't feel bad. I'm still working on kitchen. I got to get outside to finish up liquid flashing, sheathing, waiting on windows so I can wrap up job. So those of you who do construction, isn't it just all those little things that drive you nuts that you have to finish it, you have to wait for to finish? Because I know on the outside looking in, and Frank's doing a job, and he's enjoying what he's doing. And then it's like those little last things, like he could let those go as long as possible. And I said, just go in and get it done. It's like, yeah, I don't feel like going and doing this, and I can understand that. But I think, how do you guys get over that?
It's a good question. Yeah, it's kind of tough. I think, on our last job, that mountain house job, the decorator picked a tile for the shower floor and it wasn't much tile. It was only like 16 square feet. But the first 2 times they tried to ship it, the shipment got lost.
Yeah.
And that was the last thing we needed. Um, so there are those kinds of things to consider. James Ellis said he's focusing on a college roommate scenario. And I
Ben,
think that, you know,
go ahead.
I guess in that case, it wouldn't really matter where the bathroom was, but it seems like you could get more rent for the room with the bathroom.
Yeah, if that's the situation you're going for, I think so too, because I think it'll be easier to rent a 2-2 than a 3-1 because three people having to use one bathroom, that's going to cause problems. But if you see that 2-2, yeah, I think that would be better for the area or for what you're looking for. Between all aspects of construction has gotten me where I'm in and thought the time of being self-employed, being present for my kids while they were growing up. I was so thankful that Frank was able to go on field trips with our son, taking off for games and all this stuff because I couldn't always get off of okay, let's put it this way. I went on one field trip with our boy his whole time he was in school. Maybe two. But yeah, I was so thankful that he was able to do that and move his schedule around. And that makes a big difference, I think, because I watch some of these kids as they're growing up and their dads are never there because they're working and mom comes, or mom and dad or dad can't come. Makes a big difference.
Yeah, I'm really glad that we were able to spend that time with Frank. And the girls, I they didn't have me around that often when they were little. Well, when they were little, yeah, but as they grew up, they didn't. So I don't know if that's, well, I'm sure it has an effect on how they turned out. And, I'm sure the divorce wasn't easy, but all that's behind us now.
Okay, so remember we talked about sharing too much? Uh,
So,
But Troy
um,
says, Troy says, I'm trying third dishwasher. Oh my goodness. Because cabinet layout designed for no room to wiggle. Ugh. It's not my layout. So now having to make things work and added more work to cutting and rerouting water supply. Oh my goodness. What a pain in the neck.
yeah, that's not fun. And yeah, the devil is in the details.
Definitely.
Well, maybe we'll get to one or two more questions. Let's
Sure.
see.
I only had one cup of coffee, so make it an easy one, okay?
Let's see.
Hey, where are you all staying for the Vegas while he's looking for a question? Pop that in the discussion, will ya? Just want to know if I'm going to have any coffee drinkers with me.
Okay, here's one. What's been the hardest trade-off so far? And I imagine they're talking about real estate. So less free time, financial stress, mental load, or impact on relationship. What's been the hardest trade-off so far?
What was the second one? Financial something?
Financial stress.
Financial stress. I think that's the biggest one for me.
I would have to say all of the above.
No, you get to pick one. That's a. We don't do pick one.
So,
All of
okay.
them. Pick one.
So, um, well,
Because if you don't have the financial stress, then you don't like the others kind of go away.
yeah, I don't think time was an issue. I didn't feel like I lost time or spent too much time on the real estate, but probably the mental load and the financial stress.
Um, where are we staying again? In Vegas?
We're staying at the Golden Nugget.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Ike says he got an Airbnb. Uh,
Yeah, not far from the hotels that have been mentioned a lot, but I'm always down for coffee. Okay, so we didn't go last time, but the first time, did they have coffee? I don't remember. In the morning, did they have coffee? Or was I dying for coffee?
at the event, they had coffee and muffins and that kind of stuff. I'm
Oh,
not sure what they'll
okay.
have this time,
Okay.
but yeah, we're excited to meet Ike. I didn't realize he was going, but he's on our Wednesday calls a lot, and sometimes, like Troy, they're working on their rentals while they're watching the meeting or joining the meeting, so that's really cool.
Thank you
Um,
guys for doing that.
yeah, yeah, we definitely got to get together. I hopefully,
Ike,
hopefully
when are
you.
you going in?
Oh,
When are
yeah,
you
that's a good
arriving?
question.
And Grumpy, yes, the punch list items that take forever. Yes, I see Frank struggle with that. And I thought at the beginning it was just because he had more jobs coming, and now I understand after working with him that those are like the tedious little things that aren't exciting. And that's why they always take so long.
Yeah, in the beginning, I didn't realize um, how much the details mattered, and I always struggled with, going back to do those tiny little things. But now I make sure I concentrate on it, and it feels really good when you're completely finished and you don't have
Yes.
any little thing hanging over your head.
Yep. Uh, Bought my conference tickets a while ago, but didn't pull the trigger on flights and room until last week. That was Ike. Hey, Jason's staying at the Nugget. Awesomest.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons that we're staying there.
Because Jason is?
Yeah,
Did you hear the tone in my voice? We're staying there because Jason is staying there, not because your wife would like to have, I don't know, something nice or something, but because Jason is staying there. Got it. Okay.
well, the other reason is that Mark's staying at the downtown Grand, so we don't want to go there.
Don't try to get yourself out of trouble.
But yeah, yeah, we definitely are hoping to get together with a bunch of people. Um, so Ike says he'll be there Thursday through Monday, and definitely looking
Jason,
forward to connecting.
Jason, when are you getting there?
Jason's getting in on Wednesday.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, and I think Michelle's getting there on Wednesday. Michelle is staying someplace different, but we're definitely getting together.
Grumpy,
And
when are you getting there? And Jason and Ike, you guys are going to the midnight meetup. I'm not, but Frank's going to that Wednesday, Thursday midnight meetup.
Jason went to those last year. Yeah,
Okay. Ike, did you know about those?
he should.
Okay. Okay, do you have one last question?
Let's see. Yeah, let's see. So we did.
Hey, Josh is coming in on Thursday. Okay. I heard that those midnight meetups are really good. So if you guys get a chance to do those, you guys should do that. I will be sleeping.
Yeah, this one's about communication. When do real estate conversations usually happen? Are they planned sit down talks, or do they happen randomly whenever it comes up? Only when there's a problem, or we avoid them?
One, two, three. One, two, and three.
Yeah, for us, we do have planned ones. Uh, and, with me, they come up randomly whenever. It used to be only when there was a problem, but I realized that wasn't a good way to handle things. And we definitely don't avoid them.
So just to clear the air there, I would hear about problems when he had his Wednesday meetings and would talk to everybody. And he'd say, yeah, we have a vacancy, blah, 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 or this happened, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, really? You're telling your whole community before you talk to your wife? So he would get off and he would look at me. And I had that look on my face like, is there something you want to tell me? And then we would sit down and we would talk. So after a few of those, um, then we started having more communication as things were happening. And you know, in his defense, I see how it happens because he's taking the calls during the day and I'm working. There's no way I can take calls, you know, but that's one thing that I think is very important. If your spouse or significant other is on board with you, that communication has to be constant about, oh, you know, this is this, not just the bad stuff but the good stuff, you know, hey, we got paid for everybody this month and it's looking good, that's good. Or, you know, we need to replace this, I talked to so and so and they're going to get on that, okay, thanks. So because if anything happens to you, they need to know where to pick up pieces. You know, if you get sick or whatever, they need to know where to pick up pieces. If they have no clue whatsoever, where is your safety net? They should be your safety net, in my eyes.
Um,
Did you see did you see Jason? Good save, Frank. Huh. He's
yeah,
not saved yet, Jason. He's not saved, trust me.
I've learned over the years, Jason. Mark says he heard that Downtown Grand was booked. I don't think that's true, but I also know that Mark was looking for a roommate to split the cost with. So if you guys are looking for a place to stay, get a hold of that financial firefighter. Okay, you had asked for another question.
Jason says, yes, I usually go, but don't remember much. Jason, this is going to be a different year for you, my friend. A different year.
Yeah, I think it definitely will be. Let's see. When there's a disagreement about a deal, what usually happens? We
We
talk it through calmly. One of us backs down. We pause and revisit later, or it turns into tension.
I think we look at it. I don't think there's ever been any tension about a property. I could be wrong, but probably not. I don't think there's ever been any tension. I think we are able to look at it calmly, look at the pros and cons. There's times that we look at it and we say, okay, wait, maybe we need to wait, get some more information and come back to it, which is fine. But I think we look at it, when we look at deals and what have you that, or even repairs, we talk about it so that we're on the same page. And like you said, sometimes you have an idea, I have an idea, which might be a better way, then we go with that. So I think we're pretty like-minded that way. Don't you, Mr. Contreras?
I do. Um,
Josh says, Josh said, Mark wants to share a room, but it's a single bed. Grumpy's coming in Wednesday midday. Grumpy, is your wife coming? Uh, you guys are so bad. Oh, you guys are so bad.
well, if you think about it, even in a twin bed, there's going to be so much room.
Francisco, stop it.
There's going to be so much room.
Don't be mean now, guys. Be nice.
I think Mark is the one who said if your friends don't give you crap all the time, they're not really your friends.
Uh,
That's how you know someone loves you. So we
oh,
really love
see,
Mark.
see that, Mark?
Um, okay, let's see.
So, Grumpy, is your wife coming and then you're going to hang out with her during the time there's no stuff, or are you going solo this time? Low self-esteem with daddy issues. Prefer low self-esteem with daddy issues. That's financial firefighter. Mark, you know you're loved.
Let's see. Confidence versus comfort.
Confidence versus comfort.
Which matters more in real estate decisions? Feeling confident, feeling comfortable, a balance of both, or you're still trying to figure it out?
I think a balance of both, because if you're confident in what you're doing, then you're going to be comfortable with it. That's kind of a hand in hand.
Uh, this one's kind of interesting.
What's that?
Have you and your partner talked about an exit plan? Yes. You got a rough idea, or not really, or you avoid the topic?
I think we have a rough idea if something happens and we need to sell. And I think that was one of the reasons why we were talking about trying to have a balance of single family and multifamily, because it's easier to exit with a single family than it is a multi, which we found out when we um, sold that one house. So I think we have a pretty good idea. I think we're on the same page.
Let's see. Oh, I know Jen popped in. I didn't see
Yeah.
you say hello. Did you say hi to her? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's always cool when we get to chat with Jen. We're looking forward to seeing her in Vegas as well, and Kenny.
Yep. Kenny's coming too. She's coming first, and then I think Kenny's coming the next day. But that'll be nice.
Yeah, the first year it was reversed. Kenny was there first, and
Yeah.
she came in on late Saturday, I think.
It's
Uh,
funny because the when we went to that one meetup in San Jose with them, I saw her as more like you. Like, okay, what is it we're gonna buy? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And she's got that buying energy. And Kenny and I were more like, okay, wait, slow down. We're in that where we match up and you guys match up. So they must do really well together. So I think that's awesome to see. She was always on the, okay, so what? How do you do that? What do you do? And Kenny had that look of, get the information and we'll talk later.
okay, maybe we should wrap this up. Did you have any final thoughts? I don't see any other questions in the chat, but if you guys have any questions and you want to pop them in there before we sign off, that'd be great.
Mm.
Uh,
So what do you have planned for this week?
this coming week, we have one project that was midway that we are going to go back to. That was the gas fireplace project. And then we're starting we're doing a turnover for a local landlord that we worked for a long time. She has
The best setup ever.
yeah, she has three houses on one lot here in Watsonville, and one of them was a garage conversion. They put the bedroom upstairs over the garage, and downstairs there's a kitchen living room space with the bathroom down there. So um, we'll be Jim's wife isn't coming.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll be working on both of those this week, and then trying to finish up the catio.
Stop calling it a catio. It's not catio.
What is it? A
Okay,
people?
so okay. Oh my gosh. Again, thank you, Jesus, for this avatar. Thank you. Okay, so no, I don't even want to go there. Okay, it's not a catio.
Well, maybe we should let the public decide once they see the video.
If they're smart, they won't answer.
Okay, well, we ought to let these fine folks go. So thank you, everybody, for jumping in,
Have a great week.
and for your thoughts and your comments. I'm sure it helps someone. So we'll,
Make sure that you take time to have some of that silent time in your head.
yeah, well, Jason can't stand still too long because he'll freeze. I saw your temperature the other yesterday when you showed us your temperature in your car. That's crazy.
How cold was it?
I think on his dash it said -8 degrees.
Wow. I remember those days when I was in Minnesota going to school. It was a stinking coldest. It was my first winter there was the coldest winter they'd had in 25 stinking years. Can you believe it? My first winter. I go out from my dorm to run over to my first class in the morning. If my hair was wet, I'd have icicles in my hair. It was craziness.
Yeah, that's why I didn't go to college. Okay,
Yeah,
you
that's
guys.
it.
Uh, Thanks so much. We'll talk to you guys soon. Hopefully, we'll see you all
Thanks,
on
guys.
Wednesday.
Bye.